Something insane is about to happen in Genshin. Version 6.x won't have an Archon, but that doesn't matter, because we're about to get hit with what might be the strongest character lineup in the history of the game. I'm talking Varka, Nicole, Alice, and even Colombina. Characters with 5 years of build-up, lore connections to Celestia, the Abyss, the Traveler, and more. And for the first time, they're all lined up back to back. In this video, I'll break down everything we know so far about these long-awaited releases, who they are, what they might do in combat, and how version 6.x could completely change the direction of the story. Trust me, you'll want to start planning your Primo Gems now. So let me walk you through who they are, what roles they're rumored to play, and why each one of them might not only be broken in terms of gameplay. Skirk's release is finally here. You can save up to 25% on her banner at lootbar.gg. Right now, Lootbar has a special limited pack of 6,480 Genesis crystals for only $72. Compared to $100 in-game, that's a $28 saving. I just entered my UID and selected my server. In less than 5 minutes, the gems appeared in my account. As you can see, I received double the amount for my first purchase, just like with in-game top-ups. Beyond Genshin, you can also top up in Honkai Star Rail, and Lootbar has over 50,000 satisfied users. I regularly use Lootbar for my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. New users can get an extra 10% discount from the link in the description. Let's start with Varka, who's expected to be released in version 6.5. If you've been playing Genshin from the start, you've definitely heard his name. He's the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, the man who trained Xian and led the expedition that took most of Mondstadt's forces out of the city. Lore-wise, he's treated almost like a legendary figure, someone who's always one step ahead of the Traveler, off in some distant land, doing something important. For over 5 years now, he's only been mentioned in voice lines and letters. But now, he's finally returning. Varka is rumored to be an Anemo DPS, which is a bold choice, considering how limited the role of Anemo main carries has been lately. Zhao and Wanderer were the last major ones, and if Varka is being placed in that same category, we can expect him to be fast, flashy, and heavily built around raw Anemo damage bonus and attack scaling. What's really exciting, though, is what his arrival means for Mondstadt. His return could set up the next major arc in the region, maybe even tease connections to Celestia or Kenria. And with how long Hoyoverse has held him back, there's just no way he ends up being a filler unit. Then in version 6.6, we're getting Nicole. Now, this is a name that newer players might not recognize immediately, but Nicole is one of the most mysterious and potentially game-changing characters in the entire Genshin universe. She's not only part of the Hexenzirkel, the secret coven of witches that includes Alice, Barbaloth, and Rhine-daughter. She's also one of the few known descenders. That's right, on the same category as the Traveler, she exists outside of Tevat's world structure, and that has massive implications. Nicole has already made a brief appearance, or at least her voice has, during the 3.8 Hexenzirkel cutscene, where she directly referenced the false sky and hinted that she knows far more than anyone else about the true nature of the world. Gameplay-wise, she's rumored to be a cryo support, which is exactly what cryo needs. Units like Ganyu and Ayaka have lacked a consistent, universal support that buffs cryo damage, energy recharge, or reaction potential. Shenny is limited and niche. Diona is outdated. Nicole could easily become the go-to support for any cryo-focused team if her kit includes cryo damage bonus, elemental mastery boosts, energy generation, or even something like cryo resistance penetration. But what really sets her apart is the fact that she might tie directly into the Traveler's arc. She's a descender, after all, and that might mean her story quests will give us real information about Tevat's artificial sky, the hidden realms, or even the truth about Celestia itself. Then comes version 6.7, and that's where Alice finally makes her debut. Yes, the Alice, Klee's mom, legendary adventurer, chaos specialist, Voice narrator of entire events like the Golden Apple Archipelago, the one who leaves bombs for babysitters and writes guidebooks to parenting that even Lisa says are dangerous. She's been part of the game's DNA since day one, and her release is going to be massive, both narratively and mechanically. She's expected to be a pyro DPS, and let's be honest, that makes perfect sense. If Klee is already a walking explosion, Alice is the person who taught her how to blow up islands. I wouldn't be surprised if her kit involves bombs, alchemical transmutation, maybe even some chaotic field control with delayed detonations or pyro-based scaling on reaction bonuses. But beyond her damage, Alice being on a banner with Nicole most likely means the Hexenzirkel will be the center of the 6.6 to 6.7 story arc. That could tie into Celestia, Forbidden Knowledge, and even Rhindaughter's return. For lore fans, this is huge. But here's the twist. Before any of these legendary, long-teased characters show up, we're getting hit with another bombshell even earlier, and that's Colombina, coming in version 6.3. Now, if you follow the Fatui storyline, you already know how big this is. Colombina is rank 3 of the Fatui Harbingers, higher than Arlecchino, higher than Scaramouche, and only below Piero and Dottore. She looks innocent, almost childlike, but multiple characters, including Tartaglia himself, have described her as the most terrifying of all the Harbingers. That's not something you throw around lightly. She's rumored to be a Hydro DPS, which would make her one of the very few direct competitors to Neuvillette. And that's where things get really interesting. For Hoyoverse to release another high-tier Hydro damage dealer so soon after Neuvillette, Colombina will need a totally different mechanic. And she probably has it. Some speculate that she might use music or delayed AoE Hydro damage. Others think she might interact with reactions like Bloom or Frozen in a unique way. But we don't have hard data yet, just the knowledge that a rank 3 Harbinger is never going to be weak. If Arlecchino is any indication, expect something flashy, dangerous, and lore-packed. Now, while we're all looking ahead to version 6.7, there's actually something huge coming even sooner. And that's the Nod Cry region trailer, which we're expecting to drop around July 25th. This time, though, the spotlight is expected to be fully on Colombina, who's releasing in version 6.3, and if what we've heard is true, she'll be heavily tied into the opening region of Nod Cry. That means this trailer won't just be a landscape showcase, it'll likely give us our first real look at Colombina in action, fully animated, and maybe even a taste of just how terrifying she really is. Remember, this is the rank 3 Harbinger, and her appearance in a region trailer means Hoyoverse is treating her like a major force in the next arc. So yeah, keep an eye on late July. That trailer could be the moment where the tone of the entire game shifts. So what does all this mean? Well, here's the thing. Version 6.x doesn't have an Archon, and that's a pretty big deal. In every previous region, the Archon served as the centerpiece of the update cycle. Venti, Zhongli, Raiden Shogun, Nahida, Furina, and Mavuika. But this time, we're getting something different. Instead of one single Archon anchoring the region, Hoyoverse is loading the entire 6.x cycle with massive, heavily anticipated characters, and making each one of them feel like an event on their own. From version 6.3 to 6.7, we're looking at an absolutely stacked lineup. Colombina, Varka, Nicole, and Alice. Every single one of them has years of build-up, deep ties to the main story, and enough hype behind them to stand next to an Archon-level unit. And let's be honest, Hoyoverse has a clear pattern. The more a character is hyped in lore, the more insanely strong they end up being when they finally drop. And honestly, with this kind of lineup, combined with the momentum Genshin has right now, I wouldn't be surprised if version 6.x ends up becoming one of the most profitable or talked about regions yet. So the real question is, who are you saving for? Are you skipping current banners because your eyes are on Colombina? Or are you holding out for the final showdown with Nicole and Alice? Let me know in the comments. I'm seriously curious what your plans are. And if you want to stay updated with everything about these releases, leaks, gameplay analysis, and speculations, make sure to subscribe. I'll be covering all of it right here. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.